Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and people who've been following this channel for a while have probably been waiting a very long time for this review. Yes indeed, today it is the turn of Sweden, everyone's favourite country, apart from mine, apparently. I really do feel alone in that sometimes, to come under fire from me and my reviewing technique. Is that where this train of thought is going? Well, in any case. This year's Swedish candidate, not that they get to compete at the contest, but still, you might recognise them, because they consist of Ashley Haynes, Lulu Lamotte, and Dina Jones Manna, and the group also, until recently, included a member by the name of Paris Renita, but she's since moved to America to pursue other things. But collectively, they are known as the Mamas. Did I mention they were John Lundvik's backing singers last year? Because that's what they are, and that's what they're known for. Well, they were until they won this year's Melodifestivalen with the song Move. So now they are truly an entity in their own right, and after how I talked about them last year, I don't remember what I said, but I'm fairly sure I was praiseful enough to say that, yeah, okay, reasonable, fair enough, let them do their own thing, because they remind me of, well, they remind everyone of the muses from the Hercules film, I think. I don't know, that's meant as a compliment, I probably said it last year. Anyway, music and lyrics by Melanie Weber, Patrick Jean, or Jean, could be Jean, and Herman Gardarthe. I don't know how to say that without sounding like I'm making noises that are insulting. They're not intended to be. And the song is presented fully in English, because when was the last time Sweden sent something that wasn't in English? It's been too long, but who am I to judge? Honestly, my first impression of this song when I first heard that it had won Melodifestivalen was to roll my eyes because, man, the Mamas did Eurovision last year, give someone else a go. But, like, I'm 100% aware that opinion is literally not based on anything. I hadn't even heard the song when I thought that, so I am fully aware that opinion carries no value whatsoever. Literally, I have not heard any of the songs from this year's Melodifestivalen, apart from this one, and also someone played me like a 10-second snippet of one that came second. Overrated, I think, but still. Yeah, I didn't even listen to this one until it had already won, and even then it took me a while to get to it. Side note, what with all the drama and the back and forth about so-and-so should win, no, what's-her-face should win, no, Thingy What's-it is the real winner, I really don't feel like I missed out on all that much by not watching Melodifestivalen this year. So, focusing on this song and this song alone, what do I think? Yeah? Pretty good. Gospel music doesn't generally do much for me, but this isn't really thoroughbred gospel anyway. Like, you can tell they're gospel singers, but the song itself is more pop than gospel overall. So that opinion of mine doesn't really matter all that much. Dare I say it? I think John Lundvik was holding these ladies back last year. Do with that opinion what you will. So, things you might like, because I do treat every song fairly, and I'm going to look at the positive points whether you want me to or not. If anyone tells you that I don't, then clearly they have ulterior motives. As always, let's open with the obvious. This song's message is so wholesome and uplifting and just generally positive, which is a good match for vocalists like Ashley, Lulu, and Dina. I'm not saying that people who got their start in gospel have to do uplifting music. I mean, look at Hosea, for example. But the message, the singers, and the overall musical style all pair together like a fancy dinner and some fine wine. Other combinations are available, but this works. It feels natural. It feels like it's supposed to go together. Of course, a major part of what helps that impression to land is that the three of them evidently believe in every word they're singing, or they're really great at acting, one of the two, possibly both. This isn't so much a question of the performer being believable, as I've rambled about several times this year already, but rather, it's clear that they believe in their own song. Each of them seems to have someone in particular, perhaps even each other, in mind when they sing, for whom they truly would do all the things that they promise in the lyrics. That helps to sell the song, as far as I'm concerned. Also, tying into that, and specifically the notion that they could easily be referring to each other when they sing, they work so well as a trio. No offense to former member Ms. Renita, of course, I just can't judge them as a quartet if they're not performing as a quartet, they're performing as a trio, so what I mean to say is, the three of them as presented with this song have great interpersonal synergy as a team, but more than that, you know, that they're not just a group, they're a little family. That they could be sisters for all, you know, for all I know, that they certainly act like it. Vocally and personally, they harmonise perfectly, and I mean that in a literal and a metaphorical sense, in case you missed that part. But to step back down for a second and focus something a bit less nebulous and a bit more concrete, let's talk about the vocalization that serves as the song's main melodic hook. I won't try to imitate it for you, but, you know, the the O's. That's memorable by itself, which is cool and good for a competitive song, but where it goes above and beyond is that the song establishes it as a hook right at the beginning, but then works the melody and plosive prosody of the hook into the lyrics and pattern of the pre-refrain bridge, which allows them to repeat the hook without repeating the hook, if you know what I mean. It stirs up the memorability factor without making the listener think, ugh, this song is a broken record. In short, how typical is it that the 1 year Sweden sends a song that I actually vibe with, the contest gets cancelled and they don't get to sing it? Still, vibe or no vibe check me all you want, that doesn't mean that, as I said, I won't still give it a fair and balanced critique, as always. No one gets a free pass with me, no matter which country they are, putting no subtext in there whatsoever. So, one thing that might bother you, but it might not, also, you do you, is that while the Mamas carry this song in no small order with their personalities and vocals alike, I feel like the backing track doesn't do much heavy lifting to work with them. It's by no means bland or lazy as a piece of music, it's not badly produced, but if you listen to the instrumental version of the song, then it's just kind of 3 minutes of the same thing and nothing but. Depending on your take, that may be kind of the point of the genre, given how gospel vocals and gospel environments, for that matter, traditionally operate, but whether or not it's the point is moot. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and you might not, you know? Another aspect of the song's background that you might take issue with is the, how can I put this? The cut everything but the beat, let's get happy and clappy bit. The UK had one in 2018, as did Australia. I think those were two very similar songs, and the Netherlands had one before them in 2017. Granted, in this song it feels so much less cringeworthy, much more natural, much less forced, generally organic and germane to the song for once. Again, it's a gospel thing. But it all comes back to a question of taste. You might associate it with other songs that have used the stompy, clappy situation to much worse effect than this, in the same way that I've developed something of a gag reflex for victory key changes. Your mileage may vary. And speaking of things that are determined entirely on the basis of personal taste, I feel like this song is incredibly rom-com soundtrack, if you're with me in any way, shape or form. That isn't inherently a bad thing in and of itself, but the implication is that it sounds like something that conveys enough of an emotion, but not too much, that it can be sort of ducked down to a low volume and played over clips of a romantic comedy film to make a trailer or something, and it would fit in so well, so congruously, so cogently, that you wouldn't even notice it was there. You might view this song as background music that's just a bit too good at its job. You might not, of course, but I can see how someone might feel that way, and gosh dang it, I'm out here looking for every flavour of opinion that I can find. For now, though, in the meantime, let's throw some numbers around, shall we? For anyone who's been following me for a while, allow me to blow your mind twice in rapid succession by saying that I'll give this song a personal score of 9 out of 10, because this is the most that I've liked a Swedish entry since 2011. Melodifestivalen winners tend to miss the mark with me, but then again, Melodifestivalen kind of came under fire in recent years for its relative lack of diversity amongst its winners, but that's none of my business. Sips tea. John Lundvik was the start of a change to that formula, but his song coincidentally wasn't to my taste. It's just not my sort of thing. The Mamas, meanwhile, have finished what he started and delivered something completely different. You know, for once, we don't have random guy singing Spotify pop and generally looking attractive to a certain demographic. Instead, we have something that's nothing like what Sweden has sent in recent years. And I'm okay with that. I will hedge my comments with the statement that while I do like this song, I don't necessarily love it, but on the whole, I can nod along to this and not feel instantly disengaged or repulsed or whatever else. After the decade Sweden's just had, that is a welcome break for both of us. Technical-wise, meanwhile, my inner juror gives this an 8 out of 10. It achieves what it sets out to do without pushing the boat out too far. The Mamas really bring the song to life, and that is great, but kind of also part of the problem insofar as the music doesn't bring itself to life all that much. It sort of relies on the Mamas to do the heavy lifting, as I said earlier. A good song is able to hold its own even without the vocal line. And without the vocal line here, this song would struggle. It's still good, uplifting, marketable, and enjoyable, of course, and the way it's performed really hammers home its sincerity, or at least perceived sincerity, and I'll take that much, which in turn reaffirms all of its other positive qualities. It's just, if you were to write it off, I would see why, but then again, if you were to love it, I'd kind of see why too. Was it the greatest song in the 2020 lineup? Not really, no, but for the first time in a while, I don't think the Swedish broadcaster was trying to tell itself otherwise. See how much of a difference it makes when you drop the smug attitude, SVT? So, based on that remark, you might think I'd be giving Sweden a positive arrow for their overall path through history, and you'd be right, just not for that reason. Melodifestivalen went on as usual, surprising exactly nobody, but the reason why I praise its quality this year, rather than just saying, blue arrow, same as usual, business as always, next, is because the final result was far from a total runaway, which in itself is a far cry from last year's result, where John Lundvik swept the jury vote and basically got the highest possible score, all things considered, which I still don't get why, but you do you, Sweden. Much like Eurovision 2020 proper, the final was an almost wide open playing field. People were talking on social media, people had wildly varying tops and favourites and predictions, people thought it could go any one of like 7 to 10 different ways or beyond. Once again, that makes so much of a refreshing change from the usual clusterstorm of random hype, all focused into one single song that, to my ears, has nothing going for it that its competitors don't. Hype ruins everything for me, so of course a year with a more evenly distributed curve of hype is going to look good in my eyes. So, that being the case, would this have qualified? Well, let's be brutally realistic here. Knowing the Eurovision fandom, you know, the same ones who bullied Axel from Finland into just giving up trying to represent his country at all, yeah, those people. Knowing them, Sweden could send a homeless man with chronic indigestion and a hat made out of clothes pegs and porridge oats and they'd still reach the top 10 of their semi-final. At least this time, with the Mamas, it'd be a qualification that even I would consider to be deserved. I won't deny, I would be highly disappointed if this had ended up winning the entire contest, because in my estimation it's far from the best song in the lineup, and wasn't even close to being a contender in the eyes of the public anyway, but I certainly wouldn't have wished last place upon them. If any other country had sent this, it'd be roughly mid-table in the final, I think, between 14th and 18th, roughly. With Sweden's stamp of approval latched onto it, that'd boost it up by about 10 places just by default. Seems a bit excessive, but whatever. As I said, the toxic fandom can do some crazy things. Bottom line is, this is the most positive I felt about a Swedish entry in literally a decade. And sod's law, it's not going to get to compete. We'll have to wait until next year to see if this was just a random fluke, or if Sweden and I really have made peace. I would like that, personally. So anyway, how do you lovely people feel? Do you like this song? Do you not? Do you feel neutral? Are you the sort of people that hype up Sweden every year? I feel like if you're watching my videos, you're probably not. So yeah, let's have a conversation in the comments below, and yeah, I'm not going to say I stan Sweden this year, but they actually sent a song that I like, and that's kind of wrong-footed me, because usually I see this flag and I get all defensive because of hype. So yeah, I would wish the Mamas luck, but they're not taking part this year. They might, like, they haven't even been given a free pass to represent Sweden next year either. They're still going to host Melodifestivalen, so if they don't compete in that, then they won't get to compete in Eurovision ever, basically. I'm getting off topic here. Basically, Sweden, good luck for next year, in that I hope you pick something that keeps up this pattern of staying on my good side, because I'm so tired of being bored by Swedish entries.